Hello, welcome to another video where I try to convince you to become a better version of yourself, while I'm still unsuccessfully trying to figure out my own life. Today we'll talk about authenticity. That trendy word everyone uses but few truly understand, like Bitcoin in 2013. But jokes aside, authenticity is the ability to be your true self, without masks or pretenses, even when you really want to put on a superhero costume and pretend you've got everything under control. Research shows that people who live in accordance with their true values and don't try to appear as someone else demonstrate higher levels of psychological well-being and life satisfaction. So, why has authenticity become the new currency of social success? And why is being real more important than trying to be perfect? Part 1. Why we're afraid to be ourselves. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Most of us are afraid to show the world who we really are. From childhood, we're taught to meet others' expectations. Be a good boy, be a nice girl, don't stand out, don't make mistakes. We create different versions of ourselves for different social circles. One for work, another for family, a third for friends, a fourth for social media, a fifth for dating. And by age 30, we've developed a socially approved multiple personality disorder. Psychologist Carl Rogers wrote in his famous book on becoming a person, "The paradox is that when I accept myself as I am, then I can change." But the fear of rejection is so strong that we prefer to be loved for who we are not, rather than risk being rejected for who we really are. A study conducted at Stanford University in 2019 showed that the fear of social rejection activates the same areas of the brain as physical pain. In other words, our brain perceives social rejection as a real threat to survival. Much like being attacked by a bear, except the bear wears designer clothes and criticizes your career choices. Part 2. Why perfectionism is a trap. Striving for perfection is just a sophisticated way to avoid vulnerability. Perfectionism tells us, if I'm perfect, no one can judge or reject me. Brené Brown, vulnerability researcher and author of The Gifts of Imperfection, says, perfectionism is not about striving to be your best. It's the belief that if we live, look, and do everything perfectly, we can minimize the pain of criticism, judgment, and shame. But here's the problem. Perfectionism is impossible to maintain constantly. A study published in the journal Psychological Bulletin showed that perfectionism is associated with anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and even suicidal thoughts. That is, by striving for a perfect life, we're actually shortening our real one. And the most ironic part? People don't trust those who seem too perfect. We intuitively feel that something is hiding behind the perfect facade, like behind the Hollywood smile of a TV host who probably collects stuffed birds in his spare time. Part 3. The power of vulnerability and authenticity. The paradox is that our ability to be vulnerable is exactly what makes us stronger. Real strength isn't about appearing impenetrable, but in acknowledging, yes, I have weaknesses, I make mistakes, and sometimes I have no idea what I'm doing. Like everyone else, by the way. According to a study conducted by Harvard Business School, leaders who demonstrated vulnerability, including acknowledging mistakes and limitations, were perceived by their teams as more authentic and inspired greater trust. When we open up and show our true emotions, we create space for real connection. Authentic people aren't afraid to say, "I don't know," "I need help," or "I was wrong," phrases that perfectionists consider signs of weakness, though they're actually signs of emotional maturity. Brené Brown also notes, vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up when you can't control the outcome. And it's precisely this humanity, with all our flaws, quirks, and unique traits, that makes us interesting, attractive, and worthy of connection. Authenticity. As the currency of trust. In a world oversaturated with fake news, Photoshop, and perfect Instagram lives, authenticity has become a rare and valuable commodity. Think about it this way. When was the last time you really trusted an advertisement? Now remember when you last trusted a recommendation from a close friend. The difference is enormous because we instinctively trust authenticity and sincerity. According to the Edelman Trust Barometer report, 81% of consumers stated they need to trust a brand to buy its products. And personal authenticity is perceived as a key factor of trust. In the professional sphere, authentic people build stronger relationships with colleagues and clients. They don't waste energy maintaining various facades, so they have more resources for creativity, innovation, and real work. In personal relationships, authenticity is the foundation of intimacy. We can't truly love a mask or a role. We love the real person, with all their complexities, contradictions, and imperfections. How to develop authenticity in everyday life. So, how do we develop authenticity if for years we've been used to adapting to others' expectations? The first step is self-awareness. You can't be yourself if you don't know who you are. Start with questions. What do I really like, not what I think I should like? Which values are truly important to me? The second step is practicing micro-authenticity in everyday life. For example, expressing your real opinion in a low-stakes situation, or admitting you haven't watched a popular series everyone around you is discussing instead of pretending, or simply honestly answering, "I don't know," to a question you don't know the answer to, instead of making something up on the spot. The third step is surrounding yourself with people who value you for who you are, not for who you're trying to appear to be. In the book The Happiness Trap, psychologist Russ Harris notes, the more we try to avoid negative feelings, such as vulnerability or fear of rejection, the more we suffer from them. Instead, he suggests acceptance. Yes, I'm scared to show my real self, and I'll take this step anyway. Conclusion. Authenticity is not an endpoint but a process. We all wear masks sometimes. It's part of living in society. The difference is whether we're aware of these masks and whether we have the ability to take them off. Being authentic doesn't mean saying everything that comes to mind or ignoring social norms. It means acting in accordance with your true values, even when it's not easy. Frankly, I'm still working on this myself. Recently, I turned down a project that contradicted my values, even though it promised good profit. It was scary, but then I felt an amazing relief, as if I'd dropped a backpack full of stones I'd been carrying for years. In a world obsessed with image and impressions, being yourself is not just a relief, it's a kind of revolution. Because as Oscar Wilde said, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. And remember, your imperfection is not a bug in the program, but the most important part of your uniqueness. Thank you for your attention. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to leave a comment, preferably an authentic one.